Good morning and welcome to the walk-off, everybody. It is Tuesday, so it is our mailbag. I know, Adam, you constantly want to call it Mailbag Monday on a Tuesday, but we're just going to
I think
cut that out.
no. We're not going to cut it out. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to lean into it. It's now Monday morning mailbag every Tuesday
On a
afternoon.
Tuesday, every Tuesday afternoon.
Yes.
Okay.
So there we go.
This is one of my favorite parts of the walk-off. It's so funny how this started as something that was just like, didn't get a lot of views, was a little bit of extra work, and now it feels like no work. We're getting so many comments and so many DMs and so much interaction that I don't even have to do show prep. It's beautiful.
It's great. Everybody does it for us.
Everyone does it for us.
It's great. So.
It's fantastic. I'm Scott Belford, joined as always by Adam Mack. Let's get right into it, buddy. Actually, you know what? I should probably do the socials and stuff like that.
You better.
At Walk Off Podcast on Twitter. We have gotten a ton of DMs on Twitter over the last couple weeks, so I really appreciate the interaction. And we probably have more from Twitter than normal this week, but we just got so many. And my apologies to those of you who aren't getting your comment or questions read or answered. We literally are getting to the point where we can only hit about 10%. But we do appreciate everyone who sends a message. The Walk Off Podcast on Instagram. Of course, we've got in our show notes right now the link to our Discord where you can join and interact with us one-on-one or with the whole community, however you want to do it. So those are the ways to get your questions in. Let's go from there.
Very good. All right. First one is a comment on this week's Long Toss. So Matt Finley says, super off topic, but I would love to see a Moneyball movie review. I'm sure everyone has seen it at least once, but it could be cool.
Well, who is that again?
It just so happens. This is from Matt.
From Matt. Well, Matt, as it just so happens, as Adam started there, we are actually reviewing Moneyball this month for April.
Yeah.
It is the one thing we do for our Patreon. Our Patreon is $4 a month, and we've been reviewing baseball movies. We did Bull Durham for free. That's on YouTube currently. And then, of course, in January, we did Mr. Baseball. February was Major League. And then last month, A League of Their Own. Really, we're just not putting our Blue Jays content behind a paywall, and we needed some sort of thing to give for the extra little bit. We do appreciate, obviously, all the support. And if you want to join Patreon, you're more than welcome to do so. Again, this movie review for April will be Moneyball.
And that'll probably be out in May, because that's
how we procrastinate. Yes,
right, exactly. So just before we move on from that, thanks to our Patreon supporters. So we got Shane, Joel, Joshua, Jeremy with a J, and Ian. Thanks for your love and support there on Patreon. Okay, let's on to the next one here. So this one comes from Drinker of Beer in Discord. So this is Mark, who runs our YouTube live chat and moderates our Discord. So big shout out to Mark. I think he actually is commissioner of our fantasy league as well. So Mark does a lot of heavy lifting around here that for sure goes underappreciated. But
behind the scenes king of the walk-off community, for sure. Yes.
All right, so he shared this tweet from Ben Nicholson-Smith from this morning. Some bad news. Nate Pearson has mono and will be out a while, in quotes.
This poor kid, man. Talk about just a string of bad luck. It's like the baseball gods have targeted him to make sure that no matter what, he has a tough time getting on and staying on the field. Like, you got to feel for him. It's brutal. And anyone who's had mono, like, I haven't had it. And it's funny because I was just on Twitter. We've actually got a comment or a question from him, but at Garth Yorgi, he reached out when I just retweeted the Ben Nicholson-Smith thing and just said this kid has had a rough go. Mm-hmm. And his comment was when he was 32, he got mono. And he's like, honestly, I couldn't do anything but sleep and lay around on the couch for 4 months. Like, mono's no joke.
No.
Obviously, Nate Pearson is an elite athlete and is probably going to shake this off quicker than, let's say, somebody like you or I, Adam, would. But, again, this is not just a brush it off, this is a cold type of thing. This could derail his whole season.
Yeah, I think that's, knock on wood, I I don't want to say likely, but a realistic possibility. Like, he probably out for at least a month with mono.
At least another month.
And that's not even touching what it's going to do to his conditioning. Or like you said, if he's just bed rest, because it is the sort of illness that just like
zaps your energy,
right? So much weight loss is involved. I'm kind of jealous.
Yes.
He might be rehabbing, or not rehabbing, but building his conditioning back up for just as
for 2
long,
months,
if not longer, than the time he's out with mono, right? So, yeah, to say this puts the whole season at jeopardy, I mean, sounds like a hot take, but it's really not. I mean, silver lining, he is youthful, which is a positive factor. He's going to get all of the best possible medical
care
treatments that science could think of, right? So he's got everything working in his favor, but it is still for sure going to be a while before we see Nate Pearson. And
especially if you think about the fact he's already missed 2 weeks. So even if this drags out another month and he loses 20 pounds of muscle, like that's not nothing.
For a power pitcher, that is a bad case of tacos. That is
not
bad case of tacos.
Good. One thing I do wish to just quickly transition into before we move on, though, is that it has been announced that Trent Thornton, Taylor Saucedo, friend of the show,
there you go,
and Julian Merriweather have all made this team. So they are all in the bullpen, which is something that we've been kind of speculating on. Who's going to fill out this bullpen? How many guys are they going to bring with them? 28-man roster. Are they going to get crazy and try to bring 10 or 11? Are they going to do 9? It looks like probably 9. Yeah. Good for Saucedo and Merriweather, and the fact that Thornton, he pitched well in spring. I know there's a lot of Jays fans that saw Thornton made the list and was like, what's going on? But we also every team needs that mop-up guy that maybe is only pitching once every week, every 9 days type of thing, but comes in when they're down and
eats up innings when it's
eats innings.
Yeah. You just mentioned guys making the team. Friend of the show, Taylor Saucedo, still friend of the show, despite being traded to the Oakland Athletics. Kirby Snead has made the team in Oakland there.
Hey, so that's awesome. I didn't
cool.
see that. That's really cool. Good for Kirby.
Also, Kevin Smith looks like made the opening day roster.
Good for him.
So good for him. Hoagland obviously is still rehabbing and going to be a ways away from making his debut with the A's there. But Zach Logue is going to be starting the season in AAA.
Okay.
But, I mean, with the rate that the Oakland A's are trading away their starting pitchers, I mean, it might not be too far away before Zach Logue gets the call up. But congratulations to Kevin Smith, former Jay, finding a spot with the Oakland A's. And, of course, big congratulations to Kirby Snead starting the season with the big league club as well. So, very
good
cool
intel there, man. I didn't even hear that. That's very cool. I love it.
Well, I mean, Oakland doesn't make announcements, right? So I had to deep dive and check their official 28-man roster that was listed. But
Oakland has just found it's better to stop announcing the players that nobody knows who they are because they traded away all their stars. Good for them.
Exactly. All right. Next one comes in then from back to Twitter. So this comes from Brant Jays Fan 49, who says, question for your mailbag. He personally set, or she, I suppose, set the over-under for Rogers Center sellouts at 60 this season. Are you going over or under? I am taking the over. That place is going to be lit all summer. So 60 sellouts at Rogers Center out of 81 possible home games.
What a fun little mental exercise here. Yeah. I think I'll take the over also.
Really? Okay.
You're under?
I'm under. 60 is a big number.
It is a big number.
75% sellout is basically what we're going for here.
What's going to hold this back is April and May. We'll see how it turns out. But yeah, I think 60 is a big number.
60 is a big number.
But there is a lot of hype behind this team, and it is a very good team. And if they start winning right out of the gate, 60 is not impossible.
Yeah. I mean, is every Thursday, Friday, Saturday game going to be sold out? I would say probably, yeah, 95 or higher percent of them. But is a Sunday afternoon
Tuesday,
or a
yeah.
Wednesday night or whatever, when the Reds are in town, you know, going to have a lot of
Yeah.
games that aren't against the Yankees or, another rival, right? So a sellout is a significant accomplishment. I don't quite know if that's going to happen 60 times. So I'll take the under there. But yeah, still a fun little mental exercise. So thanks for that one, Brant. All right, next one comes from Patricia Nitz on Twitter. DM'd us and said,
yes. Patricia Nitz is actually one of the walk-off's big Twitter interactors. So just a little tip of the hat to her, yeah.
Well, good Tuesday afternoon. Good Monday afternoon this Tuesday morning, Patricia. Can you tell me where Jose Ramirez goes if he comes to Toronto? He's a third base, right? I'm pretty sure we just got a pretty big third baseman right now. Inquisitive face emoji. So
I love it.
What do you think?
Well, all the rumors are, Patricia, is that obviously Jose Ramirez would need to do a position change. He has played second base in his career. It's actually where he started before he moved to third base. So I think that is the natural progression of where he would wind up. Lefty. So he's a switch hitter. So I think that if they were trying to stack the lineup with left-handed bats, you might see Ramirez playing third. Maybe Chapman gets a day off or is playing DH. And then you would see Biggio at second with his lefty bat there. So I think it would be game to game, depending on the scenario, depending on who's pitching. But yeah, I think the majority of games, if for some crazy reason the Blue Jays managed to get J-Ram, I think it would definitely be second base where he would get the primary amount of his playing time.
So with the switch hitting aspect of Jose Ramirez, right-handed hitters advantage versus right-handed pitchers? Correct?
Other way around.
Other way around. So would he basically what I'm asking is, would he switch hit or would he just always be left-handed?
Oh, well, like, he would hit right against a lefty pitcher, right?
That's what I'm saying. But he's our only lefty bat. Like, I'm saying he is. This is total speculation. So if we're going against a righty pitcher, he's going to hit righty? No, he's going to hit lefty. He's hitting lefty against righties. And then when a lefty pitcher comes in, we're just going to have 9 right-handed batters? Am I following that correctly?
Okay, so lefty pitchers are going to have an advantage over right-handed hitters. So I think I mixed that up when we first started this up.
Okay.
So
let's start fresh here, Scott.
Yes.
Cut that out. Let's start fresh. All right. Jose Ramirez,
No.
switch hitter. Let's go.
You want your left-handed pitchers pitching against right-handers. That's the advantage.
No.
So
because you have a lefty specialist, right? The left-handed guy pitches against left-handed hitters?
yeah, that's the advantage.
Yeah, so you want your left-handed pitcher throwing against a left-handed hitter, right?
Left-handed pitchers have an advantage over right-handed pitchers. Yeah, because most batters...
Man, is this ever good content? You understand what I'm saying. Regardless of what the advantage is, I'm not a scientist, okay? I suck at hitting against all types of major league hitters.
I don't know why this is so confusing right now. Yes, lefties versus lefties, the advantage is to the pitcher. Yes.
Okay. So...
Fuck.
So as a switch hitter, if I'm Jose Ramirez and I can hit both ways, right? Against a typical right-handed pitcher, I'm probably going to hit left-handed because the science says that's the advantage, right? The statistics play out that that's the advantage. So in the case of a left-handed pitcher, the opposite must also be true, right? So the advantage for me as Jose Ramirez is to hit right-handed in that situation against the left-handed pitcher.
Yes.
Right? But with all this emphasis on, well, we need left-handed bats to balance out this lineup, what I'm asking you as a pseudo-expert is would the Jays just forego that and say, no, we still want you to hit left-handed because we need the balance in the batting order? Do you know what I'm saying? Or do we just go, fuck it, they're starting a left-handed pitcher tonight, we're going all righties? Do you see what I'm saying?
I think if you have Jose Ramirez, one of the best players in all of baseball, you let him do whatever he wants to do, right? It seems to have worked so far.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. All right. Well, let's just move on. That was a stupid question, and that one came in from me, so I'm sorry. I'm taking over mailbag here. I should just cut that whole fucking stupid segment out. All right, so next one. Thanks for the great question, Patricia. Jose Ramirez would be moving to second base. So next one comes from... Ooh, this is a tough name to pronounce. Garthiorgi?
Yes.
Okay, I got that right? Okay. Garthiorgi on Twitter said, watch the Monday mailbag on a Tuesday. Nice work. See, they love the name, Scott.
Yes.
Monday morning mailbag every Tuesday afternoon. Nice work. Here's an early question for next week. Who do you think overperforms, underperforms this season? For me, the over is Danny Jansen. I think he's going to ball out this year. Under, I think it's Teoscar. Not a complete flat line, but I don't think he's an all-star this season. Just a hunch. Okay, Scott. Over. Who overperforms this year for you as a Blue Jay?
I am going to go with Lourdes Guriel Jr. I think that Lourdes is going to take a step forward. I know he's 29. I know that for most guys at that age, you just look at the back of the baseball card and that's what they are. But I do see Lourdes as a guy who has had flashes of brilliance at the plate and has been derailed by the only thing that has derailed him when he's hot is injury. I know that he had that 13-game multi-hit game streak going on before he was injured in 2020. I know that he's had major hit streaks go on and then been derailed because of injury. So I think Lourdes is going to be still a streaky hitter this year, but I think he's going to have hot streaks that are going to blow people's mind around the MLB. And I know that on Long Toss, I predicted my long shot Blue Jays prediction was that Lourdes Guriel Jr. at some point in this year has a 25-game hit streak, which would be very cool. So that's my prediction for over. My prediction for under is actually going to be, and I love this guy, so don't everybody freak out here, but I don't think Santiago Espinal is going to have quite as successful of a season as a lot of people are hoping for. I don't think he's going to be a flop, but I just think he's going to wind up showing himself as a utility bench piece.
Yeah. I think that's a fair point about Santiago Espinal. I know there's a lot of hype around him this spring. Obviously, he's put on some serious muscle mass.
He's looked good.
There were people throughout the offseason who were saying that he should be our everyday third baseman, right? Had a great batting average last year, bit of a small sample size. I think he reveals himself to be quite human at this point, but a contributor nonetheless. I don't think anybody's in for a bad season. My over would be Danny Jansen as well. Loved what he did last September when he came back from injury. Again, small sample size with him hitting awesome in September. But like we talked about it on Long Toss, what happened, what changed? I didn't know this, but it was pointed out to me that the change Danny Jansen made was that he just stopped trying to hit the ball all over the field. Right? Just lean into the strength of being a pull hitter, and that advice came from no other than Marcus Semien. So if you're going to tell me that Danny Jansen became a better hitter from a piece of advice that he got from one of the all-time best second base performances of all time in Marcus Semien, I think there's real substantial reason to believe that that's sustainable, right? So
yeah,
I'm a big believer in Danny Jansen. I know if we crawl back far enough into the archives, I was not.
You are not,
always
but
a big believer in Danny Jansen. But I mean, I'm allowed to change my opinion, and guess what? He changed my opinion. So
yes,
there you go. Underperformers this year, I think Kirk's going to underperform. So
okay,
I hope not. I hope he does good, and I hope the trade value's there, and we can get something back in return for him. I don't see any way he's a catcher of the future for us. I think by 2023, Gabriel Moreno breaks camp with this team. So it's Jansen and Moreno for me in 2023. So I hope Kirk has a big season and we can sell him to someone and get some good pitching prospects or something back in return. But I don't think he's going to live up to the hype that we've been kind of putting on him since he came up in that 2020 shortened COVID season.
Yeah.
So I think more of what we saw last year is more of who he really is. And I think that's still good, but
for sure it is.
I just don't think he lives up to the hype and the craze. So whatever. Shit on me all you want for that one. All right. Next one comes in from Tiger Uchiha on Twitter. So sorry if I'm butchering that
right.
name.
Another DM here. That's right.
So, hey guys, first off, wanted to say you guys are doing a great job. Truly enjoy the videos. Great listen. I got to bring up a possible topic of conversation here. Now that I've been a student of the game for a while now, I truly think Bo's ceiling lies in the Derek Jeter range. Once the defense catches up with the bat, very excited to see if that idea has any fruit behind it. Just wanted to hear your thoughts on the comparison, or if there is a comparison you guys think is better suited to Bo Bichette.
I mean, if that winds up being the case, huge win for the Toronto Blue Jays organization.
And us first ballot Hall of Famer?
I mean, El Capitano. There is not many out there who have played a better shortstop throughout their career in general, in whole. And listen, I know that non-Yankees fans, ourselves included, love to go at the fact that Jeter was an average to even maybe slightly below average fielder. But what he did for that New York Yankees team when they were in their heyday and won 3 World Series in a row, something that may never happen again for any organization.
Yeah.
It's pretty special. So if Bo Bichette winds up following in the career footsteps of Derek Jeter, I think that's fantastic. I don't mind this comparison at all, actually. I think that there is some real validity to what Tiger Uchella or whatever it was there was saying. I do think that there is some true truth to this. I do think Bo Bichette has more range and has a higher ceiling for what he can be defensively at that position. However, if he can match what Jeter did at the plate or even be slightly under it, this is a massive win.
Yeah, big time. Derek Jeter had the kind of career that like new stats get invented for, right? Like, I mean, I'm critical of all the new fucking analytics that are kind of just vibe based, right? Like some of them are real and whatever. You take like a mathematical, you divide this by that, and that's the new category of stat, sure. But a lot of it, like, I'm sorry, WAR is a stupid stat in my opinion, because it's just kind of, I'm sure there's something to it. Sure, I don't want to get into that today, but it also is kind of just a vibe, right? Like, yeah, this guy's really fucking good. So he gets a big, like, I don't know what it's actually based on. Some stupid fucking 16 input calculation. I'm sure there's something to it. But that's like what Derek Jeter was, right? Like, he's just like, he's better than the numbers would say he is, I think, right? Like what he does to the team in terms of intangibles. That's a term that everybody likes to throw around. And I think that's kind of where Bo Bichette is. And fuck, his normal stats are already good, right? Great, in fact. But yeah,
it's a very good point. It's a very good point. I do want to say, by the way, wins above replacement is something. That's not what Adam's saying. He's just saying, and I could be wrong here, but I feel like, like wins above replacement is something where, just like you said, Derek Jeter, people are like, there are intangibles here that we're not able to truly put in black and white on paper. So what kind of stat can we come up with that sort of shows those intangibles?
Yeah.
So
can you, if you can't right now, maybe we'll do this on Friday or something, but can you just quickly explain to me as a casual fan or whatever, how WAR is calculated?
I actually don't know the calculation for WAR. I'm not sure of the formula there.
I don't think anybody knows. I think different websites have different calculations for WAR, and I think right there is all you need to know. Whether you're at Fangraphs or you're at fucking McDonald's,
Statcast or
everybody
whatever it is,
has
yeah.
their own version of war. So, anyways, we should just do a walk-off version of war. Anyways, let's move on from there. Great question. Next one, some heat coming for us on YouTube. This comes from Hines, who says, Teoscar is terrible in right field, just as bad as Lourdes, and you are letting his bat speak louder for his D in the outfield. Let's be honest, if he wasn't hitting as good as he is, you wouldn't be saying you think that he's good in the outfield. Same goes for Lourdes. It's only to have them in the corners because of their bats and their arms. That is it. Let's stop pretending that they got better. LOL. It's okay to have two opinions.
Okay, so first off, I responded to this comment. I couldn't
Yes.
help myself. I should have just let it be, and then we could have responded to it here. However, I do want to point out here, Hines, that neither Adam or I said that Teoscar Hernandez was good in right field. Our exact terminology was he has worked very hard over the years to go from below average to average. And if you look at his defensive metrics, that's exactly where he sits, an average right fielder. And with a bat like Teoscar has, that is a massive win for the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm not saying he wasn't a nightmare to watch in right field 3 years ago. Shit, when we started this podcast in July of 2020, Adam, you and I were still pulling our hair out over some of this guy's routes to the ball and the way he played right field. He has improved. This is not just blind fandom homerism.
Yeah.
The metrics are there. They show that he is an average fielder. And that is just good news. And as for Lourdes Guriel Jr., listen, we always talk about what an adventure he is in left field. That said, he has also been runner-up for a Gold Glove there the last 2 years in a row. So I'm not going to jump off the deep end and say that Lourdes Guriel Jr. is an above-average left fielder, but he does have a rocket, a cannon of an arm.
Funny how Gold Glove is such a misnomer of a term, right? Like
Yeah.
it's the term for great defensively,
Yeah.
but his runner-up status for Gold Glove has zero to do with his actual glove, and
Yeah.
it is entirely on the merits of his arm.
Of his 17 outfield assists he threw last year.
That's
yes.
big time, right? I don't think anybody's throwing him a vote after watching him field a ground ball or chase something around the corner out there by the foul pole, right? But yeah, phenomenal.
What's funny about Lourdes, too, is that it's more of it's a difficult thing to watch as a Blue Jay fan than he actually doesn't make the plays, right? Like the amount of times you'll see Lourdes run towards the ball, overrun it, and then need to take steps back and then makes the catch.
Yeah.
Or, takes a weird route and still makes the play, but the whole time you're like pulling at your collar and you're like, ooh.
Yeah. Or loses a grounder at the warning track, has to dig it out, and a guy decides to go for two, but now Lourdes throws him out at two. So it kind of...
And everyone's allowed their opinion. Hines, if you truly believe that Teoscar Hernandez is a terrible outfielder, number one, I think you're out to lunch, personally. I think terrible is not the right word to describe his fielding. Average is the right word, in my opinion. And according to the defensive metrics from Fangraph, he is an average fielder. And we never said he was great. We
never said he was good. We never said he was good. We said he has put in hard work to get better, and that he has now achieved average status. So we do stand by that, but can appreciate the frustration in your tone here. That he is not a good outfielder, and we agree with you on that. All right, two more here. So this one comes in from Twitter as well. This is Raised on Jays, DM'd us and said, "Hey boys, watched Long Toss Sunday. I love this show so much. It's getting to the point where I'm moving my schedule around so I can watch it live every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. I know Sunday you all thought Reese McGuire being moved meant that Greg Bird is almost for sure going to make the team as a bench piece, but yesterday he was released. What do you think is going on?"
That we did. All of us were like, well, this means Greg Bird is a bench piece for this team. 100%. No way it doesn't happen. And if we go back about 3 weeks before, just as spring training started, and there was a little bit of Greg Bird hype, and I was very against it. I said, don't get me wrong, I did eventually get on the Greg Bird hype train. But to start with, I said it makes no sense. This is a guy who has zero positional versatility, which does not fit in with the mantra behind the Blue Jays organization. He hits DH and plays first. So he's very blocked, even if he is a left-handed hitter. Mm-hmm. So the guy who wound up making the team was Gosuke Katau out of Japan, and this is a dude who had a very good spring too, under the radar. But one of the things with him is that he is incredibly positionally versatile. Plays left field, plays right field, plays third base, plays second base, plays first base, has played shortstop, moves all around the field, is an above average defender at almost all of these positions. Light on the bat, but he is a lefty hitter, comes off the bench. He's the perfect utility guy for this team and fits
Don't
far
tell that to
more
Kevin
with...
Biggio fans. I can't hear it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is what it is. Is he going to be on this team at the end of the year? Who knows? Yeah. I mean, it's a 28-man roster right now that in May goes down to 26. But he's on the team now, so good for him.
I mean, interesting point with the expanded rosters to 28 right now. We're seeing a lot of these top prospects from across the league making the team, right? Mm-hmm. I think it was with the Royals there. What's his name? Witt?
Bobby Witt Jr.
Witt Jr. made the team there with Kansas City. Julio
Torkelson
Rodriguez
with Detroit, yeah,
Rodriguez there in Seattle. So all these guys are making the team, and it's kind of the MLBPA is kind of proclaiming that, like, look, we've ended service time manipulation. Look how positive a sign this is. Do you think these guys stay with the team all year, though? Because if they get sent down, all of a sudden, they're in AAA for 2 weeks, whether it's from start of April to mid-April or whether it's from May 1st to mid-May, they're going to fall short of that service time, right? So, like, this kind of just feels like
I think it's going to be player
owner's part.
I think it. Yeah, I mean, this does clear up some strife between MLBPA and ownership. Do they stay on the team is going to be a player-by-player scenario as to how they're performing, is my opinion.
There you go. All right, well, let's... you know what? Hold on. Before we move on to the next one, so Raised on Jays mentioned rearranging their schedule to catch the long toss live on Sundays. Right. So I do want to just kind of clarify something because Scott and I did something differently this week.
And got some heat for it.
We did it intentionally, and this was my idea, so I have to take the brunt of the blame here. We did something different with long toss. So usually what we do is it airs Sunday night. Live at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're taking comments and questions from the YouTube chat as we do it. And then usually we just leave it up as a live stream that then people can stumble across and find their way to it or watch it at their own convenience whenever works for them. It is a 2-hour show, right? So it's to find 2 hours in your schedule is different for everyone, right?
Yes.
But just because I'm still trying to figure out how the whole YouTube algorithm bullshit works, and I don't fucking know what I'm doing. I don't think anybody really does. But I wanted to experiment and see, well, what would happen if we take this live stream down and instead of just leaving it up, if we do it live as we do, but then take it down and re-upload it as a separate video Monday morning and see how the performance does and stuff like that. So this ran into some problems for a few people, namely Danny from our Discord. So Danny in China loves long toss, and we love Danny. But because of the time zones are so weird, he doesn't watch it live. He'll usually pop in and say hi, and then he'll download it later, the next morning or whatever, and listen to it at the gym or whatever he's doing. So with us taking it down and delisting it Sunday night, obviously this threw a wrench into Danny's plans. And I don't think I've seen so many swear words in our Discord in
It
2
was
years.
pretty funny.
He
I
was
felt bad.
He was posting
I
about it
actually
in
felt
every
bad for him.
channel. Like every
Yeah.
place he could. It was like, what the F? F this.
Yeah.
Where's my video? It was like,
Yeah.
kind of
Why
like.
can't I download this? I loved it. I was just like, I love seeing this sort of passion.
I loved it too. I mean, I felt special. I felt really nice.
Yeah.
But I do feel bad.
Yes. Sorry, Danny.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, the strategy, at least for this week, was a big success.
Yes.
We got a massive uptick in views by doing it this way. It performed much better Monday morning even than it did Sunday night. So we're going to have to at least try it again this week to see if that was an anomaly or if that's just better for people to also have something to watch Monday morning. So that's what we're going to keep doing. But we do have a solution for the Dannies of the Discords of the world. So anybody that does want to watch it or download it at their own schedule after we air it live on Sunday nights, instead of making the video private so that nobody can watch it, we are going to just change its visibility to unlisted, which will basically mean if someone's searching, they won't be able to find it. But if they have that specific URL, they will still be able to watch and download it as normal. So, as we always do, we will be posting the URL to that live long toss in our Discord. So, Danny, if you're watching this, next Sunday, we're going to do the same thing, but you will be able to download it.
We got your back, Danny.
Morning or whatever. We got your back. So, sorry about the hiccup this week. We're working out the kinks. We appreciate your patience. And for anybody else that might be in a similar situation to Danny, it's just another reason to join our Discord. Our Discord's completely free. There's like 150 people in there now. Really good, positive Jay's interaction community.
It's wild how positive it has stayed. I don't know. I've never seen this amount of people be this positive and cool with each other. So well done in the Discord, everybody.
very, very good stuff. All right. So last question here, and then we'll wrap up. So this one comes from Andrew on YouTube, who says, the Blue Jays played 30 games in the first 31 days of the season. What do you think the record will be after that gauntlet to start the season? These 30 games include 7 against the Red Sox, 7 against the Yankees, and 6 against the Astros. Obviously, 3 good teams there, and that's, if my math is correct, 23 games out of 30. So how's the Jays going to do after that gauntlet? Will the fan base erupt if they're hovering around 500? Andrew says that they are excited for baseball, but this schedule is intense.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk expectations, Scott. Let's temper expectations or let's rally the troops. What are we doing here?
Okay, so to start with, we did bring up on Friday how insane this schedule it is. And it is a meat grinder. There is one day off between April 8th and May 9th. That is insane. That is straight up a grind. And yeah, they are playing a lot of divisional rivals. So I think success is 16-14. I think if this team is slightly above 500 after this and they come out of it with good health, they come out of it and they haven't lost anyone to injury, bad tacos, I think that's where us as Jays fans should be aiming, right? Is that healthy and above 500? I would love to see this team go 20-10. Mm-hmm. But I'm also a realist and understand how difficult this sort of schedule is. The good news is, though, this is not Blue Jays specific. This is a tough grind of a schedule for 30 of the 30 MLB teams. Because the schedule has been pushed together due to losing those 2 weeks off the top because of the lockout. Mm-hmm. So it's completely possible the Jays do as well as they would in a typical scenario where it was properly spaced out, because they are also going to be playing exhausted teams that are up against the wall and feeling it. But yeah, 7 against the Yankees and 7 against the Red Sox, half your play in this 30-game grind is against really good divisional rivals. So we'll see how it goes. Personally, I think I would love to see a 16-14 record and them be healthy. How about you, man?
I mean, yeah.
Obviously,
for sure. I would say this. I would rather the team have a worse record but be healthy and look all right and just have lost like some tough losses than have a good record but lose a key piece. Like I would
100%.
rather be, honestly, I'd rather be 10-20 but everybody's healthy and we just keep getting tough breaks. Versus being 20-10, but we lost George Springer or whoever to a case of bad tacos for the year. Right?
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I do feel like, I mean, the cliche of baseball is that it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with the world-renowned writer Malcolm Gladwell by any chance? Tipping Point?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay, so one of my favorite authors, I've read all of his books. And when I say read, obviously I mean I've listened to them on Audible. I'm not a maniac. One of his favorite events, he's a runner, right? That's his sport of choice. He's a runner, long-distance runner. One of his favorite Olympic events is the 5,000-meter race at the Summer Olympics. And he summed it up as... This past Summer Olympics, I watched it for the first time and I appreciated what he was saying, right? It's like, it's this race where it's 5,000 meters. So it's 12 and a half laps around the track, right? And for the first 11 laps, it's just guys pacing themselves and trying to not trip or fall down. And they're just it's still, 4,500 meters, right? It's a long distance. They're running at a good clip for 12 minutes. And then the final lap, it's like a dead sprint for 500 meters, right? So they've just drained themselves. They're exhausted. But the 10 guys who are in the pack at the front now is where the race really happens. Yes. So anybody that hasn't watched a 5,000 meter race at the Olympics, go watch last Olympics gold medal finals. There was a Canadian sprinter, actually, Mohamed Ahmed, got silver medal in this race, and by the 11th lap, I think he was in 8th place, but part of that pack, right? And then for that last final stretch, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. It was a very cool race to watch, and that's exactly for me what baseball is. We're just leaving the starting blocks here in April. We don't want to have a big injury. We don't want to do anything ugly. Obviously, we don't want to fall back. We don't want to get swept by the Red Sox. We don't want to get swept by the Yankees. But if we go 2-5 or 3-4 against either of those teams, as long as we're healthy, that's the biggest thing for me right now through April and May. Is if we can float around 500 but be healthy and have a couple. I mean, that's the worst case scenario, right?
Yes.
I don't think it's going to be that bad, but also I don't want to set the boats on fire in a panic mode if that's what ends up happening. So, anyways, that was a stupid.
I love that analogy. Okay. Don't fall and be ready. Just stay in the race until the end.
Just stay in the race. Be ready for the sprint. I mean, we did it. We saw what happened last year, right? We put on the afterburners when it got to September, but we were a little too far back, right? So let's just get there. Let's get through. If we got to make some adjustments at the trade deadline and pick up a piece or add this guy or that guy, that's what we do. But let's just stay in the pack. Let's stay close to the wild card spots or whatever the case may be, and let's be hot when it's time to be hot. But you don't want to go too hot right out of the gates and burn yourself out. So,
100%.
All right, man. That's all we got for the mailbag. So
awesome. All right, well, always a pleasure, dude. Thank you so much to everyone who was so interactive this week, and our sincere apologies to the comments and questions we didn't get to. I know there was a pile on YouTube we probably didn't touch on, a ton in Discord, and lots on all of our other platforms, Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast, at Walk Off Podcast on Twitter. But please feel free to reach back out, and maybe we can get you on next time. All the best, everybody. Cheers.